Hi, my name is Michaela, and I am here in Santa Barbara, California. I'm in my fourth year of teaching, and I'm currently teaching music to kindergarten through sixth grade at a local public school. But for the first 3 years of my career, I was teaching K through 5 in Carmel, Indiana. And my inspiration for this course is really my experience teaching kindergarten students. The young learners that I have worked with are so excited and so eager to learn. They are willing to try anything and do anything that I ask, and they're just so curious and optimistic and confident. And I'm inspired by them and interested in learning more about how to foster the natural learning abilities that they have and that students younger than them have. All of the texts in this unit have allowed me to reflect on my teaching and understanding of these young learners. Throughout the unit, I find myself getting a better understanding of the power of early education in general. I stop to think about the informal and formal musical experiences that I see young children experiencing from birth to 18 months. And I really gained a better understanding of how important these early experiences are in preparing the students to learn music in school. Reflecting on this unit, I was reminded of a statement made by Stephanie Jones in the first video. She said something along the lines of, support them and they will amaze you. And I do find this true in my teaching. I'm constantly amazed by the advances that my young learners make. And I now realize after reading this unit that these advances are probably a result of parents and preschool teachers supporting their students from a very young age. And I started thinking about how much our kindergartners would be able to achieve in the music classroom if they were all supported musically from birth. And I think the possibilities are really exciting and really give us a reason to advocate for these young learners. I also thought there was a sort of connection to what Larry Schweinhart said about the preschool students designing their own learning experiences, and his comments about preschool in general. If these young learners are given the structured and unstructured informal guidance that Gordon spoke of in his writing on page 3, they would really be designing their own learning experiences with direction and support from the parents and teachers. And that seems to be another way that we can support students so they can be amazing, just like Stephanie Jones said in that first video. Another aspect of Larry Schweinhart's lecture that caused me to stop and think was his comment about commitment raising achievement and then achievement raising commitment. He was not speaking of music education specifically, but I began to make important connections to music education with his kind of thinking. If students are getting the idea before and during preschool that music is a really important thing to learn and to have in their school, then they will develop this commitment to learn this art and therefore, according to his statement, raise their achievement in music. Then, as a result, the student's commitment to music is raised as well. And I found myself reflect on the power of this philosophy. Music would be valued by these students the same way that the core subjects are valued by these students. I think it's just such an important idea to instill in all of our children from a young age. Schweinhart's message in general, I think, connects to Gordon's statement on page 2. He says that what children do not develop early in life cannot be developed in later life to the extent it could have been attained earlier. And I just think that is such an important thing for teachers to understand and for parents to understand. And it really applies to music and other areas of learning for our youngest students. There were 2 other aspects in particular in the passage that we read by Gordon that really caused me to stop and reflect on my own teaching. And the ideas more than anything, these 2 ideas more than anything else. And one was a statement he made about music and movement on page 8. And he said that if young children are not encouraged to move in space flexibly and continuously in a free-flowing manner, they probably will not learn to chant rhythm patterns with flexibility and phrasing. Now that was just an example that he gave, but I just think that is such a powerful testament to music and movement classes for these young learners. Music and movement are kind of one and the same for them. They really need each other in the learning process, and there's such a natural connection that I've seen in my young students, and I just thought his statement was really powerful, and after reading it, the idea he was presenting just became so obvious, and I'm reflecting on my own teaching and thinking about how to give my students these opportunities and how to support their exploration of movement and how to help them feel confident and free while moving to music. It's an important first step to them. The other statement by Gordon that I thought was interesting that I wanted to discuss was on page 9, and it has to do with the young students having little or no time to perform music alone. And he gives a great example about how students are held accountable for their personal progress in other areas, but not so much in music. And I find it to be true and tragic, and especially for our youngest learners. I was reflecting on my own teaching of kindergarten and brainstorming ways to give more opportunities for singing and playing solos in class. And I find that at this age, students are not afraid to sing alone or improvise alone, and on the contrary, they're really very excited to try doing those things alone. And we, as teachers, I think, owe it to them to give them solo opportunities to further enhance their learning, but also to boost their confidence. It just made me start thinking, maybe if all students sang solos at school regularly in preschool and kindergarten, by solos I mean short repeated patterns, not full songs, maybe it would not be such a scary thing for them to sing solos once they are older. So I thought that was an important thing to explore, and just a very important thing to give those young students opportunities to be accountable for their own learning in music and to really track their own successes. And an important part of that is by performing solos in class. I think it also connects to the final statement by Gordon about having fun in music class versus learning and understanding. Of course, as music teachers, we want our students to enjoy music class, and maybe listening to every student have a solo opportunity might not be the most fun thing for preschool and kindergarten students, but it's our responsibility as teachers to give those opportunities to students, I think, no matter how big the class sizes are. But I think as teachers, we are able to create ways to keep all students participating and engaged while still having intermittent opportunities for solos. And I think we really owe it to our students to ensure their learning rather than their entertainment. And I just thought that that was a really great way for Gordon to end that first chapter.